A very good morning, all. So, guys, let's continue from where we stopped in the last lecture in the Laravel. In the last 2 or 3 lectures, we have been working on Laravel. We have seen how to work with different types of routings. We have seen how to work with different types of controllers. And we have also seen that how to work with different types of views as well as dealing with the submitted data and all those things. So I hope those who are working along with me, they are almost clear with whatever we have done so far in the Laravel. Is there any queries from anyone regarding whatever we have done in the Laravel so far? If not, then we can move on with the next topic of this. Okay, guys. So if you are all clear, let's start with the next topic. So first of all, I'll just discuss what actually we are going to do in the Laravel today. So I'll just say here, let me just open my notepad file. Today we are going to deal with two things. I'm not going to start with database today. I'll start with some new topic and then we'll start database in the next lecture, and probably we'll complete in 2 or 3 lectures the database part. So ultimately, once the database is over, your Laravel chapter as well as Laravel will be get completed. So today's topic is something what is session and cookies. So here, what I'm going to do is, when I'm going to take the topic of session, I'm going to build or I'm going to discuss this session in this particular way. We are going to create one sign-in page. We'll create first one sign-in page. We'll send the data of whatever we have on the sign-in page to some, let's say, login page. Here at the login page, we are going to generate a session. We are going to generate a session first, right? Once the session is created, we are going to save some data into the session, data in session. Once this is done, right? Once the session has been created, once the data has been stored inside the session, what is my task? I am going to create a new page called profile page. I'll create a profile page after the session has been saved. And once the profile page has been created, then I will redirect from the session page or login page to this profile page and display all session values in profile page. All session values in profile page. So whatever values I have stored in the session, I'm going to display it in the profile page, but only if the session has been stored. I'll also provide a logout option. I will also provide a logout option in the session in the profile page. And once I click on this logout, my session should get deleted. So this is what I want to make. So I'll make sure that if I have not created the session, if my session has not started, I will not allow a user to directly move to the profile page. A profile page will open only if the user has, if the user session has got started. So this is what my task is. Clear with this, guys, first of all? So this is what the first task of this lecture is, to create the session and to manage a particular application with a session variable, right? So let's get started with this. Just remember this flow, what we are going to do. I'll just minimize this. I'll open my command prompt, and here I'm going to write down my project name first. Let's say it's ProLar. I'll start my servers. I'll say PHP artisan serve. Let the server get started. Let the server get started. And by the time the server gets started, yeah, the server has got started. I'll just copy this server. And I'll create one more instance of command prompt that I'm going to use for mainly the coding part. Right? And again, I'll move on to the project, and then I'll just open this project inside my Visual Code. So this is what my Visual Code is. Right. So we already done with the forms and everything. So I'll not use this thing. I'll close. I'll just keep this web.php route open. So let's start with the session work. So guys, first thing we need to do is we are going to create one blade.php file, one view file. So let's go to views, right click a new file, and let's say the name is signin.blade.php. Signin.blade.php is the file name that I'm gonna create. So let's create the HTML structure for it. So this is my HTML structure. I will say sign in page, and in the body I'll first create the form tag. Form action equals to, let's say I'm going to write down the route name. Let's say the route name is sign on. Route name is sign on, and method equals to post. So this is my form. Let me just write down here username, and I'll say input type equals to text, name equals to, let's say, name itself. I'll create a BR tag, then I'll say password, I'll say input, and input type will be equals to password, and name equals to, let's say, pass. I'll create two BR tags again, and then I'll say button, and here the type equals to button equals to submit. I'll just save this. Done with this, guys, everyone. Those who are working with me, Akash, Mohammed, and Divya mainly. Just create one signin.blade.php page, and we are creating two sign-in fields, username and password, and with one button. All right. So first of all, let's create the route for these two things. Let's create a route for this sign on and one route for this sign in page. So I'll just copy these two. It will be same. That's why. So I'll say route view, and when I write down here sign in, I'm going to call sign in .let.php, right? And when I write down here sign on, this is the route of my post method. So when I write down sign on, right, I'm going to create one controller called login, and that will be having a submit method. So two things I have done in my route. I'm ready with my route for two things. First, the view file, and secondly, the controlling of data submission. Just do this and let me know you are ready or not. Let me know once you are done with this too. Let me know once you are ready with this too. We have created one signin.let.php, and we have created the route. Yes, Majid, we just created the new view page, that is signin.let.php. So let's go to a browser. I'll just minimize, or I'll keep the browser width. Yeah, so I'll just paste this. Once the server is ready, I'll just write down here sign in, and I'll get my signin.let.php. Okay, I need to write down something in the button. So here I'm going to write down submit data. I'll click save and refresh the page. So yes, my design is ready, right? Everyone getting this output? Everyone is getting this output? The two of you, Akash and Mohammed? Okay, great. So now once I submit, when I click this submit data, I will be moving on to the login controller. I will be moving on to the sign on page, right? Sign on route as per our route that we have defined here. We'll moving on to this sign on route, and that is going to call a login controller with a submit method. So let's create the controller first. So let's go to the command prompt. We'll write down php space artisan space make colon controller space, I'll say login, alias capital. Okay, cannot open. Okay, PHP artisan, not artisan. Great. And let's create it. So my controller is now ready. My controller called login where L is capital is created. So I'll go now to my controller, and this is my login.php, and here I'm going to create one function called public function, and function name will be submit, and that will be having a request, having a variable called $req, and it will be having some function body. Ready with this? Let me know once you are done. Once you created the function controller and function called submit inside it. Mohammed and Akash. Divya, are you working with me today? Divya, are you working with me today? Okay, fine. That's okay. Okay, Mohammed, are you done with this? Okay, so now here we are going to first of all create the session variable. Okay, so to create the session variable, the syntax will be, we'll write down $req arrow, we'll write down session, and then into bracket we are going to say that what session I want to create. Now guys, tell me, if I want to create a session, what things I will require? Let me know very quickly in the chats. What things I will require while creating a session? Tell me. What things I will require while creating a session? Anyone? I will require two things. One, the session variable name, and second, the values to be stored in the session. Remember this thing, guys. Whenever we are working with a session, we'll require two things. First, the variable name, the session variable name, and second, I require the values to be stored in that particular variable, right? So here, I'm going to create a variable. So I'll write down here put. So I'm creating one session, and that session variable name is data, and it is going to have the values of $request of all the inputs given by the user. So this is what, or this is how I'm going to set up my session. $request session, and then I'm going to say that put all the data, put this data inside this variable called data. So whatever input the user is going to give from this signin.let.php, the username and password, everything is going to get stored in the session directly. Sorry, Ali, I'm not getting your question. Ali, can you just elaborate your question because I'm not getting it? What exactly you are asking? I don't know about, okay, you're talking about JSON web tokens. No, these are not the JSON web tokens. They are just the JSON files, JSON data, not the tokens. Whatever data that will be sent from this signin.let.php, right, it will be fetched by this request of input, and input will be having all the JSON data, or that will be in the form of arrays. Session contains whatever you want to save. Let's say in this data variable, I want to save my name. Then what I'll write down here? I'll write down here, Rakit. That's it. If I want to save this, then I'm going to write down this thing. The values that you want to store actually in the session.
Sir,
You want to use throughout your
fine.
application. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, when sometimes you wanna expect an element inside the web page, like you can go for data inside that page, and it will show a GWT file, JSON web token that will contain everything you typing right here, like if it's data, what type of the account it is, and whatever inside that session. If you change that session, you'll have different data for different session and different users. So that's why I was asking if it's called this is a JSON file or not.
Ultimately, it would be a JSON file, but it will be containing an array, not the tokens.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so once my session has been set up, because this syntax is this one, we'll write down the dollar request arrow session function, arrow put function, and in that we are going to provide first name as the variable name, and second will be the value of the session that you want to store, right? So and then once my session has been set up, I want to move to some profile.blade.php. So write down here, return redirect, and into bracket I'll just write down profile. I'll just write down profile. So first of all, I need to create a route called profile, and for that I also need to create one view file that will be having a name called profile.blade.php. So let's first of all create a view file. So I'll go to my view, new file, and the name will be profile.blade.php, and then it will be having HTML code, and let's say it is a profile page, and here I'm going to write down, let's say h1 welcome to profile page. I'll save this and I'll create one route for it. I'll say route colon colon view, and then when I write down slash profile, I want to open profile.blade.php. I'll write down profile. So save this, and I think we are ready to work with it. We have created a route for profile, the same route that has been defined here in the controller. Similarly, we have created one profile.blade.php file, and we have just provided one message that will be displayed there, right? So shall we move on, guys? Are you with me? You are the Akash and Mohammed mainly. Done with this? Okay, so let's execute this then. So refresh it once. I'll just provide username as Rachit and password as, let's say, anything. I'll click submit data. I went on sign on, but 419 page expired. Okay, there is some issue with the session. We need to go to sign on. Okay, let me just check it out. Okay. What is the issue? Just wait. Let me just go to my. Let me just restart it. Mm, Sign in. No, there is some other issue. I am on sign on. Okay, just wait. Let me just go to login.blade.php. I am having the controller in the route. I already said when I write down sign on, yeah. I'm going to call this particular login controller with submit method. Login controller with submit method. Yes. Then what's the issue? Uh, you use the session function to put up the data and I requested the input. I am redirecting it to the profile page. There is some issue. I just need to check. Let me just check with my code that I already have. Okay, fine. That is right. There is no issue with that part. Request session put data and yeah, the same thing is written. Okay. That is okay. That I have not managed as of now. These two things will be done later. Uh, Let me do one thing. Let me just check it out. This is login controller. Yeah, that is right. And what about the signin.bled.php? Okay. What about web? That is also fine. Everything looks good. And what is the issue? I just need to check. Let me go to my VS Code. After this form, let's try it out at the rate CSRF. Refresh it. Right, now we are on the profile page. Right, so guys, only the problem was I haven't mentioned this at the rate CSRF in the form. So Laravel itself is not allowing you to submit the data until and unless you return this at the rate CSRF. That was a mistake. So now you just correct your mistake and, and then you can see once we have written whatever we are trying to enter, it will directly redirect you to the profile page. That means your session has been set and now you are ready to go with working of the sessions. So here let's say, let's try to print out whatever we are actually going to store it in the session. So I'll just write it down here. We'll say H2 welcome and then I'm going to write down the PHP code. So that is curly brackets and here I'm going to write down the session name that is data and the variable name that is user. Let's refresh this page whether it is working or not. Let's see. Okay, there is some problem. Let me just check it out. Okay, I need to write down session. undefined array key user. Let me just go. Okay, here it will be a name. Fine. I'll just change it. Now we have got this. So a session variable is printed here, and this is what my profile.bled.php page is. And after this, I'll again create two br, and I'll say a tag, and a tag will go to logout, and I'm just writing here logout. So this will make my page perfectly. So when I click on this, right, I will just log out directly. So do this, guys, and tell me once you are done with this. This is your profile.bled.php page. Only the problem was from my side was in sign in page, I have not created the CSRF token. That was the only problem. Now complete this and let me know in the chats, is it working or not? Which page you would like to see, just let me know in the chat. Which page you would like to see? The controller, the profile, or the sign in? Web.php, okay. So these are the three things that we have done today. Yes, when we click logout, we just need to create a route. We don't require anything else. We will not create any controller for it. We will only create one route. When I click on logout, that will redirect to that particular route, right? We already mentioned here the route name is logout. So we'll create a route called logout here in this route page in the web.php here. And here we are going to write down that how to end the session. That's it. Right, Majid? Okay. So guys, done. Akash, Mohammed, and Radhika, are you getting the complete output? Check out with the sign in and check whether you are getting the data in the profile.bled.php page. That is the main thing. Akash and Radhika. Okay, Akash and Radhika, what about you? Okay, guys, so now let's check how to delete or destroy the session that we have created. So for that, we are going to write down here in the profile.bled.php, we have created one anchor tag where I'm saying that that will be moving on to the logout route, right? The route name is logout. So here in the web.php, I need to create one route called logout, and then I need to destroy that particular session and I'll redirect to the sign in page again. Okay, so I'll just create this route. You can check it out. Route get, the URL name is logout, the route name is logout, and I'm creating one function and I'm saying session of forget data. So whatever variable you have created for the session, right? I'm just trying to forget. That means I'm just deleting it. So to delete the session variable, use the syntax. Session forget, the session name into brackets, and then we are redirecting it to the sign in page. So I'll just copy this and also provide you in the text. You can do it and let me know once you are done with this. Just write it down or paste it and be ready. And then we'll see how it affects the code. Ready? So let's see now. Let's refresh the browser and I'll just click on logout. So I have been logged out and I have come back to my sign in page. So now if I click back, it will come up because we have not checked that whether the session is set or not. Right? So now we are going to work on the third part, that if a session is not generated, then I should not be allowed to go back to this profile page. Until unless the session has been created, I should not be allowed to go back to the session or profile page. First of all, are you done with this? Radhika, Akash, and Mohammed. Okay. So everything is working properly. Radhika. So now let's check the third part, that if the session variables are not set, then we will not allow to move to the profile.let.php. So for that, this will be the code. I'm providing you the code in the chat even. You can just copy paste first, right? I'll explain you now that what this code actually means. So I'm saying route get profile. So when I just write down profile on the browser name, I'm creating one function and I'm saying that if not, session has data. That means if the session variable called data is not available, then you should redirect to the sign in page. And then if you have the session called data, then and then you will be allowed to use or see a profile page. So this is what this code means. When a user tries to write down a route called profile, it will check whether the session is having any variable called data. If that variable is not there, I've written here not, then you will redirect to the sign in page. But if that variable called session of data is available, then we'll allow them to see the profile page. Clear with this? Clear with these two functions? Route get logout and route get profile. Everyone? Any queries from anyone? Then please let me know. Okay. See, I'm saying that whenever a user tries to write down profile on the browser, right? So when we write down profile on the browser, we are returning this profile.blade.php. But I want to make sure that if the session is not created, then I don't want the user to go to that profile page. I don't want that a user should go to the profile page. Right? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm saying that when a user writes down the profile on the URL, I'm calling one function, and that function is checking whether there is a session called data or not, whether the application has created a session whose name is data. If that data session is not available, then I'll throw back user back to the sign in page. But if that session data is available, then I'll allow him to see the profile page. Right? So we have created a new route for it. We have created a new route for it. Majid and Allah, both of you are clear now? Akash, Mohammed, and Radhika, have you pasted the code properly in your application? Okay, then let's see the output now. So I'll now refresh this page, the sign in page. I'll write down Rakit and some password something and submit data. I'm back to my profile page. So I got it. Now if I click on this logout, I'm back at my sign in. Now if I click with back, it is still going on to the profile page because the browser has not ended the session variable properly, and that is the problem with the browser. So for this we need to create a JavaScript where browser will be forced to delete the sessions or back histories. So this thing you have to do it on your own, how to create the browser histories and forcefully delete the sessions. But now if I try to write down here profile directly on the URL, you can see I have been redirected back to the sign in page because the session is not set. Whenever I'm trying to write it down here profile, I'm not allowed to enter to the profile page. I've been sent back to the sign in page. Right? So the session is working properly. So our session management has been done in a proper way. Yes or no? Mohammed, Akash and Radhika, just check it out. Is it working properly? Just write it down profile on the URL and then check whether you are allowed to enter or not. Just give me a message as done if it is working successfully. If it is working successfully, just give me a message as done. Okay, great. So guys, we are done with the session. We are done with the session part. Now let's go and see how to deal with the cookies. The second part of our lecture, right? So for cookies, we are not going to create any of the view files or anything else, but we are only going to create one controller and we'll create one route for it, and we'll see how the cookies are created and how the cookies can be accessed. This is what only we are going to see for cookies, right? So I'll close this one, and what I'm going to do is I'll go to my command prompt. I'll create one controller for cookies. The name will be cookies only. I'll say PHP artisan make controller and the name is cookies. I'll hit enter. Let it work properly. Yeah, so the controller has been created successfully. Let's go back to our code. And inside the code, I am just willing to have cookies.controller.php. Only one main thing is required, nothing else. Right. So done with this, both of you, Akash, Mohammed, just let me know once you are done with this. Once you are done with the cookies, let me know. Cookies controller. Okay, so here now we are going to deal with the cookies. So cookies are going to get created, as well as we are also going to display the cookie values to the user on the browser, right? So for that, what I'm going to do is I'll just copy paste the complete code. I'll also provide you the code one by one, right? So we'll first understand the code and then execute it, and then you can raise your query if you have. So I'll just get the code that I already have with me. So I'm creating the two functions first of all. Inside this class, I have created two functions, one to set up the cookies and second to just retrieve the cookies that we have set, right? So first learn the first program. Let's try to learn the first program or first function. So it is saying, first of all, I need to define how long the cookies should remain in the particular browser. So you need to give it in the terms of minutes, right? So let's say I'm saying that I want to store the cookies for only 1 minute, not more than that, right? So I've created $minutes equals to 1. Then what response you want to show once the cookies are set inside your browser. So I've written $response equals to new response, and I'm saying, hello students, cookies are set. So once my cookies will be set successfully, once my cookies will be stored in the browser successfully, I'm going to show you this particular message. Now comes the main part, what you want to store inside the cookies. So I'm saying $response with cookie is the function name, and then into bracket I need to just write down cookie. The variable name of the cookie is name. It is storing Marwadi University and 4 minutes that are defined here at the top. So I'm going to store a cookie with name called Marwadi University for 1 minute. Similarly, the same thing, $response with cookie of cookie, and the name will be address whose value will be Rajkot. It will be stored for only 1 minute. That is defined here. I'm saying return $response. So this is the first function where we are setting up the cookies to store it in the browser file. So to work with the cookies, we also require two more header files here. After this namespace and before this use request, I also require two more namespaces. I'll just get it here. These are the namespace that I'll require. I'll just paste it here. And I also provide you in the text. You can also add it in your files. Just at the top, you need to add three things. You'll require one response. And also you'll require application server request management. So this is what we have added. These two are the new ones. These two are the new ones, the highlighted ones. Right? So we have set up the cookies. Okay, so let's try it out. So let's create a route where we can set up the cookie. So I'll go to web.php. Here I'm going to say route. I'm not going to return any view. I'm going to only set up these, right? So I'll say get, and then I'll say when I write down set cookie, right? When I write down set cookie on the browser, I want to return the controller. So I'll just copy this. I'll just copy this. I'll paste it here. And then, where it is, yeah. Followed by the controller name, that is cookies, followed by @ the method name, that is set cookie. So let's save this. Let's save this and execute on the browser. So here instead of sign in, I'm writing up set cookie. I'll hit enter. If the cookies are set, I got the response, hello students, cookies are set. Now let's see in the browser where the cookies can be seen. So let me just go to here. Can you tell me guys where you can see the cookies? Yeah, cookies and other site data. And yeah, I want to see all the data of cookies. Okay, and now let's find out the cookie. I will search out 127. These are your cookies, most probably. Yeah, this is the name. So name we have got, right? And this is your address. That is what we have got. Right, so cookies are there available. It is going to end in 1 minute. So I'll just close this. Okay, so cookies are available in my browser. Now I just want to display whatever cookies we have just created. I also want to display it on the page. So I'll just create a route for it. First of all, I'll just create a route. I'll save it, and here I'm going to say, instead of get, I will say get cookie. I'll call get cookie function. So let's see what is the function now. So I'll go to my code. So this is my code where I'm using get cookie function. So I'm saying $result equals to $request of cookie name. So whatever name of cookie we have just added here in the set cookie function, I'm just retrieving the value for it. Similarly, $result1 equals to $request of cookie address. So whatever cookies you're going to set here, Right? The cookie names. The same thing we are just retrieving, and then I'm just printing dollar result and dollar result one. So that's it. So now let's try it out again. So I'll refresh the page again. I'll set cookies again, and then I'll write it down here, get cookie. So now we have got both the things. Yes, exactly, Majid. In the cookie controller, you need to add these three lines, and then whatever functions I'm going to provide you in the chats now, you have to just add it. So now, between this class, you need to add these two functions I'm providing you in the chats now. Just copy it. All those who are working with me, both the functions as well as those header files, and then in the route, just add these two lines. I'm providing you it now. For routes, I am providing you route. For routes. Add it and try to execute and let me know if you are able to execute it successfully. Let me know if you are able to execute it successfully. Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chats if you are able to add and you are able to retrieve the cookies and set up the cookies. Give me a message as done. Akash, Mohammed, Radhika, Majid, if you are trying, if you are working. Just give me a message as done if you are clear. Is it clear, guys, how to work with sessions and cookies? First of all. Okay, Mohammed has done. Is there any doubts from anyone regarding the sessions and cookies? Only you need to define in the cookies how many minutes you want to store a cookie for, and just need to define the response if you want to add it. Otherwise, you can directly move on. Other than Mohammed, Akash, Radhika, Majid. Okay, Akash has done. Radhika and Majid. Okay, any queries from anyone regarding the sessions and cookies? Any queries from anyone regarding the sessions and cookies? Anyone? Great. So with this, we come to an end to the session and cookies in Laravel. And from the next lecture, we'll start the last topic of Laravel, that is database. That is database. So with these remarks, I end up this lecture here. Thank you very much, guys.